Hello everyone, welcome back to Echo Tales, where stories not only touch your heart, but also help you learn English in the most meaningful way. Today's story is called The 35-Year-Old Who Started Over and Built a Cleaning Empire. It's about failure, courage, and the power of starting again, no matter your age. So, sit back, listen carefully, and maybe, by the end of this story, you'll believe that your biggest ending can become your strongest beginning. At 35, everything fell apart for David Moore. He had a comfortable office job, a steady salary, and a rented apartment in the city. But one morning, he walked into work and walked out with a box of his things. "We're downsizing," his manager said. That was it. David had been loyal for 12 years, working late nights and missing family dinners, believing that loyalty meant security. But in one short meeting, everything he had built vanished. When he got home, his wife Anna was sitting at the table. Their 2 kids were doing homework. Bills were stacked like a tower beside them. Anna asked softly, "What did they say?" David took a deep breath. They said, "It's over." He tried to smile, but it cracked like glass. For weeks, David sent out resumes. He attended interviews, but every time he heard the same polite rejection. "Sorry, we've chosen someone with more technical experience." He was 35, not old, but not young enough for companies chasing fresh talent. His savings disappeared faster than he expected. Soon, they were behind on rent. Credit card bills grew teeth. One night, sitting alone in the kitchen, David whispered to himself, "How did my life shrink so fast?" The next morning, David drove to a cafe to clear his head. As he sipped his coffee, he noticed a young woman wiping tables, moving quickly but cheerfully. She wasn't just cleaning. She was serving customers, chatting and smiling, owning her space. Then, the cafe owner walked by and said, "Best cleaner I've ever had. She runs her own small business now. I pay her directly. She's killing it." Something clicked in David's mind. Cleaning. He had never thought about it seriously before. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't corporate. But it was something everyone needed. Homes, offices, stores. He began researching. He discovered that cleaning businesses had low startup costs, consistent demand, and room to grow if managed well. Still, he hesitated. His pride whispered, "You're a former office guy. You can't clean houses." But his reality whispered louder, "You can't pay rent." So that night, he looked at his reflection in the bathroom mirror and said, "I may have lost my job, but I haven't lost my will." With his last $200, David bought cleaning supplies, a mop, a vacuum, some eco-friendly products, and a pair of gloves. He printed a few flyers with a simple line, "Honest, reliable cleaning services. Call David." He started by offering to clean small offices and apartments. For 2 weeks, no one called. Then one evening, an elderly woman named Mrs. Carter phoned. Her cleaner had quit, and she needed help the next day. David arrived early, nervous but determined. He worked for 6 hours, scrubbing every corner until the apartment sparkled. When Mrs. Carter inspected his work, her eyes widened. "David, this is incredible. You even polished the window frames." He smiled shyly. "I just did my best, ma'am." She paid him $120 and said, "I'll be calling you again, and I'll tell my friends." That moment changed everything. David realized something powerful. Respect doesn't come from titles. It comes from effort. Word spread quickly. Within a month, David had 10 clients. He worked every day from dawn till dusk, vacuuming offices, cleaning windows, scrubbing floors. It wasn't easy. His hands hurt. His back ached. But every payment felt like proof that he could rebuild his life. One afternoon, a real estate agent named Mr. Daniels asked if David could clean an entire apartment complex before a showing. It was a massive job. Too big for one person. David hesitated. Then he made a bold move. He called 2 of his unemployed friends and said, "I can't pay much now, but if we do this right, I'll make sure we grow together." They agreed. The three worked tirelessly for 3 days. When Mr. Daniels inspected the building, he was amazed. He handed David a check and said, "You've got something special. Let's work together regularly." That one contract doubled David's income. It also gave him an idea. He could scale this. David named his business Clear Path Cleaning Services. He created uniforms, designed a simple logo, and started building a system. Each cleaner had a checklist. Arrive 10 minutes early. Take before and after photos. Use eco-friendly products. Leave a thank you note for every client. He built trust through small human touches. Soon, offices started recommending him. By his second year, David hired 5 full-time cleaners. They worked in pairs with clear routes and consistent quality. He learned how to handle payroll, taxes, and marketing, all from YouTube videos and free online courses. Every month, he improved something: better scheduling, clearer pricing, stronger client communication. And with every improvement, his business grew. But growth brought new challenges. One of his employees accidentally damaged a client's antique table. The client demanded compensation. David didn't hide behind excuses. He apologized sincerely and paid for the repair, even though it cost half his profits that week. When his team found out, they asked, "Why didn't you just blame it on us?" He replied, "Because leadership isn't about finding fault. It's about taking responsibility." That moment changed his company culture. From then on, everyone took pride in doing things right. By year 4, ClearPath had 20 employees and cleaned both homes and commercial offices. They added services like carpet cleaning and post-construction cleaning. David's business reached $1 million in annual revenue. He opened a small office and trained supervisors to manage teams. He even offered English lessons to his immigrant workers because he remembered what it felt like to struggle and want to grow. When people asked, "Why cleaning?" he always said, "Because no work is small when it's done with pride." At 39, David stood in front of a conference room filled with young entrepreneurs. He was invited to share his story at a local business event. He told them, "When I lost everything, I thought my life was over. But the truth is, losing everything gave me space to rebuild something better." He paused, looked at the audience, and continued, "Success doesn't come from what you had. It comes from what you decide to do next." People applauded. Many were in tears. By the time David turned 40, ClearPath Cleaning had over 50 employees and generated $2.5 million a year. He had multiple service lines: residential, commercial, industrial, and even event cleaning. He was featured in a local newspaper, from jobless at 35 to cleaning empire by 40. He bought a small house for his family, paid in full. He took his kids to their first vacation by the ocean. Anna smiled and said, "You built more than a business, David. You built our peace." One evening, David sat alone in his office, looking at the first mop he ever bought. He had kept it, a reminder of where it all began. He whispered, "This mop built my empire, not because of what it is, but because of what it represents. Starting small and starting anyway." Then he wrote a note to his future self. "At 35, I thought I had failed. At 40, I realized failure was my teacher. Nothing begins big. Every empire starts with one honest day's work." So if you're listening to this and you feel like life has closed all your doors, remember this: doors close so that you can build your own. You don't need a fancy degree, or perfect timing, or someone else's approval. You just need to start with what's in your hand right now. Even if it's small, even if it's just a mop, even if it's just a single step toward the life you want. Because as David proved, starting small isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Thank you for watching this Echo Tale story. If this inspired you, share it with someone who needs hope today. And remember, no dream is too late and no start is too small.